Hi, this is Stuart Talley, and I've just left a hearing in the DePuy ASR litigation where a proposed settlement was presented to the court. This is a global settlement that attempts to resolve approximately 8,000 lawsuits that are pending against DePuy involving the DePuy ASR hip recall. In this hearing, we didn't get all of the details, but we got a sort of broad outline of what this settlement entails. For some people with cases, they may be happy with the settlement. For some people, they may not. Essentially, the settlement works like this. To qualify for participation in the settlement program, you have to be an individual who had a DePuy ASR hip that was revised. This settlement does not apply to any people whose hip has not yet been revised or people who can't get it revised because of health issues, even though it should be revised. The claims of those people are still pending and are not resolved as part of the settlement and will have to be litigated at some point in the future. We anticipate there will be another settlement sometime down the road for those individuals, but right now there isn't. Now, not everyone who had a revision applies. The revision has to have occurred more than 180 days after the initial hip was put in. For most people, that is not an issue. And it also cannot be a revision that is the result of an infection. So, for example, if you had your hip put in, the DePuy ASR, and you contract an infection in the hip joint several months later, and as a result the hip has to be taken out, that case would not qualify. And there's going to be very specific criteria for what qualifies for an infection. So assuming you qualify, okay, to participate in the settlement provides that if you are basically the run-of-the-mill person who had one DePuy ASR and that hip was revised, and you come out of the revision surgery and everything seems to be okay, you don't have any nerve damage or subsequent surgeries, no infection, sort of the run-of-the-mill case, you would be entitled to $250,000 under this settlement. Now, what's important to know is DePuy is also a part of this settlement agreed to cover any liens. In most cases, insurance companies, Medicare, have a lien on the case. So if, for example, if you settled your case for $250,000, Medicare would want to be reimbursed from that $250,000 for any medical expenses that they incurred for your revision surgery. In many cases, that could be $60,000 to $100,000 for a typical revision surgery. So what this settlement does is it means that there are not going to be any deductions for liens. DePuy is going to call Medicare. They're going to get in touch with the insurance companies. Whoever has a lien on the case, DePuy will take care of it separate and apart from the settlement agreement. The benefits of that are twofold. One is there's no deduction from the settlement, and in our experience, lien resolution can often take months to resolve. You call Medicare, and it can take months for them to get you the information so that you can pay them a lien or at least figure out even what it is in many instances. So this provision in the settlement agreement that DePuy covers the liens is actually beneficial. Now, if you are somebody who has more than one hip, okay, or you had problems after your surgery, those cases are what we call extraordinary injury cases under this settlement. And people with extraordinary injuries are going to be entitled to more than the $250,000. So, for example, if you had 2 revision surgeries, you would qualify for more. If you suffered an infection after your revision surgery, as a result of the revision surgery, not as a result of the first surgery, but the revision surgery, you'll be entitled to more. If you've had a heart attack, a stroke, a pulmonary embolism, or some kind of complication that occurs during or shortly after the revision surgery, you'd be entitled to more. The exact amount that you'd be entitled to remains to be seen. Until we actually get the settlement in front of us, and it will be available. We were told it should be available this Friday. We don't know the exact terms of how much people are entitled to. Now, going back to the original, the sort of the basic case, the $250,000 case, there are also deductions. Okay, not everybody is going to get $250,000. So if you are and the deductions are for people who are smokers and have a high body mass index. So people that are smokers with a high body mass index will end up getting less than $250,000. Again, without seeing the actual settlement agreement, which we don't have yet, the exact amount of that deduction remains to be seen. Now, another important term of this settlement is that it is a settlement that requires 94% of all of the claimants, people who have revision surgeries, to sign off on it. If they don't get 94% of the plaintiffs to sign off on this settlement agreement, then DePuy has the option of walking away from the deal. So that remains to be seen whether we will get the 94% signed on or not. And it remains to be seen as to whether DePuy would actually walk away if they get less than 94%. So that is what's going on with the settlement. Still more details to come out, but for most people out there, if you are sort of the run-of-the-mill person with had a revision surgery with a DePuy ASR during the right time period, your case would most likely be worth $250,000. Now, like I said, for people who haven't had revision surgery or for people who can't have revision surgery, those cases remain alive, and we'll see what happens with those cases. But what's important to know is that in order to make a decision on a case like this, everyone who has a case is entitled to make their decision as to whether they want to participate in the settlement or not. It's important to have an attorney to help you out, somebody who knows about these cases, understands them, somebody who can process your paperwork through this claims process, which is going to be a pretty long claims process, to get the most for you at the end of the day. It's important to call an attorney, and we're here to help you. You can reach us at the phone number on the screen or through our website, www.DePuyASRsettlement.com. The last thing I'd like to mention is timing. Most people that we represent want to know, when am I going to get paid? When is the money coming? The way this settlement is structured is that there's a claims process. That process will take a certain period of time, and then DePuy has the option of backing out of the deal if not enough people sign on to it. That back out date is June of 2014. Now, when DePuy backs out, at that point, everyone who has a case that wants to participate in the settlement, their claims will have been processed. So what we expect is that if everything goes according to plan, checks would be issued to plaintiffs probably in June or July of next year. So that's our latest update. Like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach us at the phone number on your screen. If you want advice or information on as to whether you should take the settlement or what it means for you, you can call us. Also, like I said, visit our website, www.DePuyASRsettlement.com.